What's up, guys? Studfit here. We just finished the tour reaction a few hours ago, and this resource was just released by Sam78IT just moments ago. So wanted to get this video out to you as quickly as possible. As you may know, Sam and I have been collaborating on some resources, such as this one here, which you can find this in his MKT toolbox. We put out a special episode together this past weekend, walking through how to use the MKT toolbox, which for those of you who might have missed the award ceremony, which we'll have links to here, all this information, you can go check that out. But his MKT toolbox won second best supporting actor from the award ceremony, only behind the other tractors, which you guys are very familiar with. So highly recommend you checking out that video, checking out MKT toolbox. This is a resource there. Essentially, Sam has become a data guru extraordinaire, taking all these resources, calculators, all kinds of stuff. You can check your daily selects. You can see which items you can use tickets on most efficiently. All that is smashed into one resource. So definitely highly recommend checking that out if you can. But let's talk about the daily selects. So I actually want to talk about reverse order because I am so excited about the gliders. I think if you buy anything using your rubies this tour that's not a me suit, it might be a glider because these gliders are so hot. In fact, I actually had a terribly hard time whittling down the list to 12 gliders that I recommend you taking a look at for your account. So anytime you see a Studfit logo, this is where, in the ruby color, this is where I would highly kind of nudge you to take a look at some of the inventory trackers, even the MKT toolbox yourself, and see if it makes sense for your account. It's not go out and buy all these items because you can't get them all unless you just are an absolute whale. But highly recommend you just take a look at it, see if it makes sense for your account. So start with gliders because that's what I'm most excited about. First off, Black Rate Sail. This is a huge meta glider. It covers so many tracks from last year. It was what the yellow off-roader is this year to gliders last year. It was absolutely insane. In fact, I think even if you compare the Black Rate Sail this last year to even the Wonderful Wings this year, I think you have to give the tip of the cap to the Black Rate Sail. It's just a monster glider. I highly recommend it. It's the only glider I have quad capped, just if that helps you put any bow on top. Next is the 8-bit Fireflower. When it comes to coverage, nothing can beat this 8-bit Fireflower. 8-bits in general have been really strong over the course of Mario Kart Tour. But the 8-bit Fireflower arguably is one of the best, if not the best. It's just been so strong for so long. Its coverage is there. It's just so highly recommended. Especially, again, most of what I'm talking about here is to help newer players. If you do not have these items, that's where I highly recommend you looking into them. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them buying them as dupes to get them leveled up. Just use tickets for that because typically you can get a high-end ticket for about 12,000 coins from like the daily selects, maybe even from your tier shop, which you can really get from about 75 rubies using Coin Rush. So it's better coin to resource level up by using Coin Rush. So next bit, Fireflower. The Candlelight Flight. This has been a strong glider this year. It's really strong still. It's got great coverage. I think it's actually when it comes to when it came out and how long it lasted. It came out. It'd been over 6 months before it started really crushing it, and it crushed it for a long period of time. Again, I wouldn't necessarily put it above some of the Black Rate Sails and One Up Mushroom, etc. But this is a really strong glider. Still, highly recommend you looking into for your account. The Sakura Origami Glider. This is one of the hottest gliders right now. It's in our top 10. It's been in our top 10 for a while. Enough said there. The Spicy Take. The Spicy Take is the cream toe beam balloons. This one's really sneaky. If you've invested into giant banana drivers, it's even more valuable for you. But it's been really strong. It's obviously got a nice paywalled ranked track here, but it's been going on pretty strong. I highly recommend you take a look at it for your account. But this is the spiciest one. This is the one where it's kind of, if I had to kind of narrow it down, I'm being a little aggressive here with the cream toe beam balloons, but worth taking a look at. One that's been really strong, and it's kind of surprising, is this Luigi green cat parafoil. It's been really strong. Got another awesome Rainbow Road buff there. Really strong. Icy Mario. I put this first on the list last tour, and it came in clutch this tour as well. Highly recommend taking a look at that. The Silver Candlelight Flight. This is a sneaky one. This one could be easily maybe a top one, number one glider later this year. I'm not entirely sure. It's still really too early to say, but it's been getting some really good coverage. It's been sneaky good. Wonderful Wings. I don't need to say too much about that. If you don't have the Wonderful Wings, I highly recommend you getting it with very little research. It's a really strong glider. I highly recommend you getting it, especially if you need it for ranked. And that ranked track that it covers is extremely hard to cover. It's somewhat paywalled, so I highly recommend you taking a look at that glider. Piranha Plant Balloons, still really strong. It was our #1 glider. Got bumped down a little bit, but still strong top 5 glider in my opinion. And we got the Black Star Chute and the Boo Masks. I'm glad that these are next to each other because it's good to kind of have that same conversation. They have a lot of overlap, and now in this tour, you may argue is kind of separated a little bit, but ultimately they have a lot of overlap. They came in the same tour. They got a lot of similar bad guy buffs, but ultimately these are 2 strong gliders. I highly recommend investing in one of them. You may not need to invest into both. I personally have chosen the Black Star Chute, but the Boo Masks really strong as well. And I did leave off the one of the first out was the Golden Wings. It's a really strong glider. If you don't have it, might worth looking into. But since it's a smaller rarity, and also most people may have already had it. We talked a lot about it over the summer, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit here recently, and I could only narrow it down to 12. Now moving to karts, I narrowed this down to 10. I actually it was a little bit easier to narrow this down. I'll tell you where I got a little bit of heartache, but for drivers, I only included, I believe, 7. Actually, I think I threw in 1 to have it 8, so it'd be 12, 10, and 8. And it's honestly that level of excitement in that order. So let's talk about karts. So we have a couple sneaky ones, a couple obvious ones. I'll kind of point out the 2 longer longevity items, and these would be the Armored Rider and the Silver King. These are really strong karts for anyone's account. Again, I'm mostly speaking to those newer players, but even though these are not newer karts, really strong, would pair really well with a lot of different karts here. Moving down, I decided I was going to make it, I could have made it 12 and just included 2 capsule karts and 2 eagles, but I decided to narrow it down and kind of pick my favorite of each category. So I actually went with the blue green. It's a double featured and ranked, and it's been picking up, whereas the green yellow has been kind of dropping off here lately. Both of them smaller karts, as you can probably tell, but I just want to kind of point that out. Right now, I feel like the blue green is the stronger of the 2 capsules. Let me talk about the Taylor Swift, the Swift Talon, and the Blazing Eagle. Both really strong. Both last tour were in the 80s, 82, 89 in our top 10 ranking. So you might be saying that's really high, but that's because it came out with so many cities. Here recently, they've both been picking things up. The main reason that I wanted to include one of them was just the hitbox is so strong. And then when I compared the top shelf, they both got 2 Rainbow Road buffs, and one being an RT and the R version, the other being the regular and the RT. Sorry, the regular and the R. So both have 1 ranked buff, 1 non-ranked Rainbow Road buff, which I thought both of those, those are 2 good buffs there for it. I think the way I went with the Taylor Swift was just looking at the top shelves and how hard it was to cover it. The week 1 Rainbow Road track seems to me, in my opinion, harder to cover than the Rainbow Road RT. So from that perspective, I gave the slight edge to the Taylor Swift, the Swift Talon. But highly recommend you take a look at it. You may want to go with the Blazing Eagle. That was really the first one out from that respect as well. Then let's talk about Tropical Truck. Tropical Truck's the coverage is bonkers, absolutely bonkers. It's a smaller card comparatively. It's slightly above average. It's kind of on par with the Lightning Streamliner, which you see there right next to it. Both of these kind of have the same dilemma. They cover so many great tracks, so many rare tracks, but they aren't huge. And so if you only invest in huge cards, maybe you've invested into Larry Wintertime, and you need some bigger cards to pair him with, yeah, it might be one you may shy away from. But honestly, I don't think you beat the Tropical Truck or even now the Lightning Streamliner's coverage. These are 2 really strong cards in my opinion. Then we have the Streetle, which takes what I just said and then inject it full of some crazy tiny hitbox steroids. The coverage for the Streetle is absolutely insane. It is insane. But it's one of the smallest cards in the game. So please, I think honestly, this is one where the coverage is not enough. I know I just got done talking about the Tropical Truck and the Lightning Streamliner, but these are slightly above average. Like, they're not large, but they're not small. The Streetle's small. Streetle is like really small. So just drive it, test drive it before you put any level tickets on it. Or maybe even hope that today's challenge gives you access to it or something for a day. Next is the red off-roader. This is a really strong kart, mainly because of its hitbox, but it's got great coverage too. There was a slight gap there where we were wondering where it was going to go, but honestly, Nintendo likes the off-roaders. Maybe the off-roaders are the new 8-bit gliders. They've just been so strong as a family. And then the red Vampire Flyer. It's been really strong. Equal hitbox to the off-roader, but really good. Great on coverage, great on hitbox. It really has no marks on it. It's been just kind of a slow, steady trickle of buffs. So it hasn't been like, oh, you have to get this right away. But really, guys, it was this reward. I think it was a ranked reward, and I think if you got it, you could invest in it. If you somehow did not win that week or didn't have access to it, worth picking up. And then last but not least, the Gold Bolt Blaster. It's a small kart, it's a really teeny tiny kart, but its coverage, like the Streetle, is really good. Same thing applies as we just talked about with the Streetle. Test drive it, maybe test out the Bonsai or one of the other bullet bill karts before, if you don't have it, to see if you want to get it. And then last but not least, let's talk about drivers. Honestly, my recommendation would be to look at the Miis. That would be the first priority. But if the Miis aren't attractive to you, I think it's really important to just kind of high-level overview over which ones are really strong. I think without a doubt, the strongest one here, if you get access to it, would be Gold Charging Chuck. If you don't have access to it, it's the 1B would be Meowser. Meowser he's had a great year. I know he's not like being used all the time right now, but his coverage is absolutely insane. He's a giant hitbox. He's literally the perfect driver from yesterday. So it's like just slight hair there towards what seems to be up and coming, which is Gold Charging Chuck. But Meowser's coverage, you can't beat it. He's got so many non-city tracks. He's absolutely bonkers. Then you get into the boomerang category, right? So you got Mario Samurai, you have Luigi Knight, you have PD Piranha, all three really strong. I'd probably lean more towards if you could only get one of them, maybe Luigi Knight. But PD is right there too. Mario Samurai, a little, because he's older, maybe one you might shy away from, but all really strong there. And then we have Gold Egg, Yoshi Gold something. Yeah, that's what I like to call him. But he's a smaller hitbox, coin box driver that got a lot of his tracks taken away by Gold Me and Meowser, unfortunately. So, I think this is one of the first ones out. But he's still, I think it's because of his rarity and because of his just being a newer coin box. He's worth looking into for your account for sure. Now, the two spicy ones I would say here is Luigi, Cat. That's right, Cat Luigi. I have a cat on the list. And it's not Meowser. That's right. Well, Meowser as well, but somehow another cat got on here. Luigi, his cat Luigi has actually been really sneaky when it comes to his pure coverage. So if you like a break from having the top skills and you want to invest in them, it's actually interesting. A lot of this bright green Luigi items, both his cart and his glider, have been probably the best non-Meowser cat items. So really strong coverage there, but again, he does not have a top skill. So if you're new to the game, he may not be, he's going to help you with coverage, but just know he does not have a top skill. Huge warning there, but just want to let you know he's kind of sneaky and could be a top 10. Could be I think he could be the top non-top skill driver in the game. And then finally, Chef Rosalina. So I debated between Chef Rosalina and Chef Luigi. Chef Luigi's been getting some good coverage now. I still feel like the giant banana is pretty substantially better than the triple bananas. Now, Chef Rosalina started with all city coverage, and that's really hurt her. But she was in, ranked the last couple tours, and here she is again. So I really like her. And then Chef Luigi, he came out obviously as we moved to this new Spotlight shop, and so he might be one that you look at. I think he's obviously, because he's so new, I could see him getting some more ranked coverage, but his skill's just tough. I mean, you're not going to get the same. You're probably going to get 10 less actions than you would a giant banana, or maybe 20 less actions than a boomerang driver or a coin box driver. So just want to kind of warn you a little bit. It's good, but not great. So there you go. These are our daily select pool for the Space Tour 2023. Again, huge shout out to Sam78IT. We'll discuss this and other information on the rundown, hopefully coming later this week. But again, hopefully you're enjoying the Space Tour, and hopefully you're enjoying all these rainbow items. It looks like to be a pretty cool tour. Just my big takeaways. Obviously, the community is pretty upset that Rainbow Road is only 2 laps, and really it doesn't recirculate a second time. community is pretty upset about that. We also have a battle mode track in ranked, which we're not as excited about. But other than that, I think overall we're pretty ecstatic. Santa Me gets some good buffs. We got some good buffs across the board. Even Larry Wintertime got some fun stuff. But again, I think a big winner this tour are the Miis. We got a lot of Mii action going on. It's exciting to see what will come from this tour. I'll have a little unique schedule this tour, so we'll talk about that a little bit more on the rundown. But hopefully this information helps you out. Let me know if it did by leaving a like or subscribing, or even leaving a comment just saying, hey, I totally disagree with Cat Luigi shouldn't be on here. Totally let me know. I appreciate the comments. In fact, the comments help get this out in front of more people anyway. So thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the rundown. May the friends of luck be with you.